Don in London, hello. December the 8th. My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. Always say that in these videos at the beginning. I'm an alcoholic in recovery, one day at a time for some years. And if it wasn't alcohol, it would be behaviour around people, places and things. So these days I try not to obsess or self-obsess or get stuck in ego, stuck putting on a brave face and stuck in fear. Because I think that's what kept me drinking in the end. Fear of life, fear of death, fear of everything, you name it, fear. And when we're ravelled up in our own thinking, trying to think our way out of problems and isolated, we can't ask for help. And that was my moment of clarity, if you like, was to ask for help. I could not do it on my own. I tried every ounce of intellect to try and help me with my problem of addiction. And what I found in the end, it was a cry for help. I cannot do it on my own, I need some help. So an admission of being human, just being human and not sure, not certain, not trying to be right and proving to the world that I was okay. I wasn't. So it took a lot of breaking down, if you like, to a place of I cannot do anything, then I can do something. And it was letting go of everything, letting go of an appearance, letting go of an attitude that I knew the right answers, letting go of behaviour. And it's a gentle process in recovery if we are to stay sober. We need to say to ourselves on a daily basis, probably, and certainly in my case, I'm powerless over alcohol, and if I try to take a drink, life will become unmanageable. And I'm also powerless over people, places and things. And I can be restored to sanity when my mind goes off wandering back into the malady of important me. I can be restored to sanity just by getting back in touch with what does it mean to be sober, and let go and let good things happen rather than hang on and try it the old way again. So that's where I am this morning, overthinking things this morning on one or two situations, and I need to learn how, again, today, to be sober. It's that simple and that complicated, because I keep having to ditch my thinking, which means I think I'm right, and feel my way along to a place of help. And what helps me most in all this, family, community, professionals gave me the opportunity to be sober long enough to find a fellowship which helps me on a daily basis, and that fellowship is AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. And I never speak for the fellowship. It's full of unique, authentic people who speak where they will on their own behalf about their sobriety when it's appropriate for them to do so. And there's a line in the reading which I'll share in a little while, all about why I do these videos. It is about 12-step work, and if you're familiar with the program, there are 12 steps to help an individual keep well, which we learn and practice on a daily basis. But what is AA? As I say, I don't speak for it, never can, never will, but I share about it because it's important to my life and recovery. So, AA. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And I share the preamble because it reminds me of what I'm here to do, which is share some experience, strength and hope. But you know what? It's the voice of many which make the difference. And in meetings of AA where I go, what you see is what you get. Some people happy, some people sad, but everybody trying to stay sober for today. And not only trying, but succeeding, and then trying again the next day. So life is never easy. Life is difficult, as M. Scott Peck said, But he also said if we accept it's difficult, then it doesn't matter. We just get on with it and make the best of what is, not what we're wishing for. And I think that's where the difference in my outlook is. I'm not wishing myself to be something, I'm just being something, making progress, hopefully, just for today. And it doesn't make us immune from everything else. Life keeps on going. So open, honest and willing to have a go. And in unity, service and recovery, in fellowship. So we don't tread on the toes of our fellows if we can help it. And we let people be themselves and learn how to be themselves. And by the end of today, I know a little bit more about who I am. Rather than saying I ought to be this. It's just about who I am today. And deal with life as it is, on life's terms, and not what I would wish it to be. I share from this book the Daily Reflections, and it covers the 12 steps of personal growth, or putting principles into action. And the 12th step is about helping others. And today, December the 8th, talks about service. Life will take on new meaning. To watch people recover, to see them help others, to watch loneliness vanish, to see a fellowship grow up about you, to have a host of friends. This is an experience you must not miss. Frequent contact with newcomers and with each other is the bright spot of our lives. And it is always the newcomer in the room that is important, because they share the message of how it is when drinking. And then we share the message back of what it's like not drinking. And sometimes it is good, and sometimes it's just terrible and tragic, because that's what life is. It's full of everything. And it's how we cope with it which is important. It goes on to say, it is through service that the greatest rewards are to be found. But to be in a position of offering true, useful and effective service to others, I must first work on myself, the 12 steps. This means that I have to abandon myself to God, or depending on your belief system, God or good conscience, or whatever it is you choose to lean on. And most people lean on fellowship first, and their beliefs as well. Admitting my faults and clearing away the wreckage of the past. In other words, dealing with what has happened and getting into the moment now. Work on myself has taught me how to find the necessary peace and serenity to successfully merge inspiration and experience. So we're not walking robots anymore, taking alcohol. We're actually doing something useful, being inspired and doing something new. I've learned how to be, in the truest sense, an open channel of sobriety. And when we talk, well, for me, an open channel of sobriety is sharing a message of experience, strength and hope. And I know that I only have my own point of view, but I do take account of all the other points of view I hear when I go to meetings of AA about how recovery works for others, and it is the experience, strength and hope of other people which keeps me sober on a daily basis. So on a chilly morning like now, on December the 8th, I'm tired, and I've been overdoing it in my head and trying to get out to meetings when I still have problems with mobility. So I need to take account of what my body is telling me. How am I feeling? Why? And what can I do? And then do it. Do the right thing. But the right thing for me may be the wrong thing for you. So we all work out what is the right path through listening and doing action. Time I stopped. And the serenity prayer, which is to God or good conscience, always is. Never be in conflict with your own personal faith beliefs around a higher power. I lean on fellowship. I have an understanding of what God means to me, which is truth, love and wisdom, which is what I learn from others. And that's fine for me, but it's what you come to understand which is really important when utilising any prayer or meditation, or just a simple reflection, whatever you call it. It's that inner voice going in the head. To God or good conscience, the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference for me is just for today. Don in London. Hello, it's December the 8th, 2009. My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My addictive substance was alcohol. My behaviour, well, whilst drinking, just as much addicted to workaholic relationships, trying to be perfect, never so. And behind that, I suspect, was a lot of fear of failure, not being good enough, not being right, putting on a facade, putting on a brave face, a mask, so that people couldn't see any fault or failure or me being not good enough. And these days, now I've understood that addiction to anything is a disease or an emotional illness, then I can understand how to stay in recovery one day at a time. And the gift is, once I understood what the malady was, what was wrong with me, or the allergy to certain types of substance or behaviour, then life can become manageable again. But on the way, 35 years of drinking, 35 years of putting on a brave face, 35 years of not knowing myself too well in a spiritual, emotional or physical sense, striving for perfection, using my intellect and my thinking to cover up how I was feeling. So these days, finding out how I feel, how I am on a daily basis is as good as it gets. And that's as far as it need go, to understand how I am today in the present moment. So key to recovery. So what keeps me sober? Well, family, friends, community, and a fellowship, and that fellowship is AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't speak for AA, I don't ever want to speak for AA, simply it's full of unique, authentic people who share experience, strength and hope where they choose, and often it's under the cloak of anonymity, and that provides sanctuary so they can discuss the truth of now. And me too, but I share experience, strength and hope because it helps me. And these videos were intended in the first instance for people who couldn't get to meetings because they were isolated and unable to attend. So, what is AA? There is a statement of intent which I share here, and it's called the AA Preamble, and then I'll share some literature and some of the experiences maybe of the last day or so. So, AA, what it is. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses or opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And the AA program, if you like, or the fellowship, has two things going for it. Many more things than that, but primarily the 12 steps of action for a person to change attitude and behaviour. That's how it works, changing attitude and behaviour on a daily basis when we encounter life experience. So it's how we respond and react. Reaction often is into fear. Responses require a bit of courage. So what the program gives me is a bit of courage, faith and confidence on a daily basis to be me, and also to take account of and acknowledge everybody else's right to be themselves as well. So control nothing, remain powerless over people, places and things, and just make the right choices based on what is happening now. And that makes life work for me. And I got to a meeting of AA last night, a newcomers meeting, and two people sharing their life experience of how it was drinking, how it is today not drinking, and how it may be in the future, just using the wisdom of what is learned now. And there were two great shares, and I was able to stay nearly to the end, but I overdid it with my insulin. I'm type 1 diabetic, so my sugar levels went too low and I needed to go sort them out. So I missed the end where people share back. Life happens, but we need to look after ourselves, and whatever condition we're in, make sure we follow professional as well as spiritual wisdom So, the spiritual side, which is where AA comes in for me, and spiritual for me is living in the moment of now and acknowledging the truth of now. Many people seem to agree that a concept of God can be God is truth, God is love, God works through people. And that's just where I am now. The most important thing in anything spiritual is to find your own path and what you understand. So AA is great like that. You don't have to conform to a pattern of another person's God or anything. You just conform to your own pattern as you learn it one day at a time. So, daily reflections today. 12 steps of action for the individual, and the 12th step, December, is covered in this book for December. And it's all about service and sharing the message. And it says for December the 8th here, service. Service. Life will take on new meaning, to watch people recover, to see them help others, to watch loneliness vanish, to see a fellowship grow up about you, to have a host of friends. This is an experience you must not miss. Frequent contact with newcomers and with each other is the bright spot of our lives. Like last night for me, even though I couldn't stay to the end. It is through service that the greatest rewards are to be found. But to be in a position of offering true, useful and effective service to others, I must first work on myself, the 12 steps. This means that I have to abandon myself to God, or to good conscience, especially the God of your understanding, admitting my faults and clearing away the wreckage of my past. Work on myself has taught me how to find the necessary peace and serenity to successfully merge inspiration and experience. I've learned how to be, in the truest sense, an open channel of sobriety. And for me that's essential, an open channel of sobriety, and trying not to judge anything, especially other people, places or things, because judgment will lead to resentment in no time for me. And in As Bill Sees It, a book, a reference book for me, if you like, a daily page, or as many pages as it takes, it says here on page 281, ourselves as individuals. There is only one sure test of all spiritual experiences. By their fruits ye shall know them. This is why I think we should question no one's transformation, whether it be sudden or gradual, nor should we demand anyone's special type for ourselves, because experience suggests that we are apt to receive whatever may be the most useful for our own needs. In other words, it's about our recovery and how we develop, not about judging others or trying to emulate another person's. Human beings are never quite alike, so each of us, when making an inventory, will need to determine what his individual character defects are, those things which get in the way of recovery. Having found the shoes that fit, he ought to step into them and walk with new confidence that he is at last on the right track. And for me, being on the right track on a daily basis, sometimes I can go wrong. Well, it's not wrong, it's just it's not even a deviation. It's that we don't know sometimes that the path has swerved off. Well, we've swerved off the right path. So, judge not seems absolutely appropriate. And this thing of anonymity, the spiritual foundation. Well, for me, anonymity is the sanctuary to find our spiritual truth. So if we have our spiritual truth on a daily basis, and we're looking at our own behaviour and attitudes, and how we may be in the world, making good choices based on open information rather than a kind of closed mind, we're probably on track. And the gift for me, well, I don't know how many gifts I've received in recovery. They happen daily. It's a gradual process of learning how to be the person I am, who I am on a daily basis, not what I think I ought to be. Anyway, the prayer to acceptance, to God or good conscience, or to your higher power. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to learn and know the difference, just one day at a time.